what do the Suns, Rockets, Nuggets, Trailblazers, Hawks, Live Golf, and Spirit Airlines all have in common?
Wow, we threw Live Golf and Spirit Airlines. That's good timely news with the Spirit Airlines too. There's a few people I follow on social media who had flights home on Spirit,
Dude,
and it's over. It got canceled.
That's wild. That can't be like, that's not even ethical. But that's a whole nother.
They're getting their money back at least.
But
so like,
still,
there's a little bit.
Like, you're just there. You're stranded now.
Yeah, because that's the thing, and it seemed like the other major airlines were not going to charge obscene fees to transfer, which would have been the most unethical thing in the world, to say the least. But yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I can't imagine like flying out on vacation, the airline shutting down, and it's just like, all right, I might get home, I guess, at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and if you haven't picked up on the context clues, they all gone. Everybody's gone.
They're all eliminated. They are no longer in their
gonzo.
So some of those eliminations a little more permanent than others. See, Live and I think the Trailblazers and the Hawks and all these other teams that have been eliminated, they'll be back next year. Some in better fields than others,
and that's one of the things we'll get into. Today, obviously, I saw a tweet, and this is more just sports thing in general. I saw someone tweet about Live Golf. They're like, listen, was it a good experiment? No. Did it help any of the players that went over there? No. Did it help the game of golf? Also, no.
No, dude, I'm telling you, Rory's looking like gold right now. Rory McIlroy. I mean, and obviously the fact that he's winning too, back-to-back Masters will help that and competing in the Grand Slam. But like, my man, his takes are aging like wine right now. And to be fair, I mean, those guys for sure like varnish their reputations a little bit. At least they got a ton of money, and I hope it was worth it.
Paid, yeah. And here's the thing: at the end of the day, like some already are back. Most are going to be allowed back, and if you're good enough at golf, they're going to bring you back. Yes, you'll have penalties and won't be able to do certain things for a little bit, but like, you just made a ton of money to do that. Like, I bet none of them really regret that decision. Like, they're good.
Look around. Do you think people ever have consequences for their actions? Like,
nope.
Take a general look at everything happening right now. Like, they'll be fine.
There are zero consequences for any actions these days, except for the Orlando Magic. There are consequences when you can't make a damn shot, but that's another thing we'll get into.
Yeah, we're going to start in the East. And so, full disclosure, if you're looking for the intro of the show, you might have to fast forward like a half hour.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the West second. We were going to start West first because we started East first last episode too. But in the West, everything's done. Our second round is set. So we're going to obviously go back there a little bit. But of course, we got a whole lot of East to talk about. 3 Game 7s on tap. Unbelievable. But let's start though with the one series that is finished, and that's the Knicks eliminating the Hawks in 6. I got to be honest, I talked pretty heavy about the Knicks last episode. Like, it was real doom and gloom, and it was real dark. So I feel the need to say and come right out of the rip and give them as much credit, because that wasn't as impressive of a response as you can get. I mean, they were down 2-1 when we recorded last episode. Just absolutely blew the doors off the Hawks the last 3 games. I was out for a walk. I got to be honest, I didn't watch the first half of Knicks Hawks. I was going to come back for the second half, and I just was like, I got that ESPN notification, and I did the blink gif where you're just like, what? It's 61-19, and I was like, turns out I'm not watching the second half of Hawks and Knicks. Like, the first half, the game was over. I should have paid attention to that one and gone for the walk in the second half, but. I mean, you want to talk about just like super impressive, tape to tape wins. I mean, the story, of course, besides the massive blowout, I think OG Anunoby, the hot start, just making everything in Game 6. More importantly to me, though, was Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns, I thought, was phenomenal the last 3 games of that series. Certainly a guy who's been scrutinized a ton in the playoffs. Really, I thought rose to the occasion here and was crucial for them down the stretch, both defensively and offensively. Obviously we'll have a much different challenge regardless of who they end up facing in the second round with Boston and the Sixers. I think probably both of those teams a little more equipped to handle the bigs than, Atlanta was. But no, look, I'm impressed. Like the Knicks, like we said, have big time expectations. The Hawks are not your typical 6 seed. The Hawks are very good. They were strong in the second half, especially post Trae Young trade. There were people picking Atlanta, and that wasn't a foolish pick. But I think for the Knicks to just really close the door out there and kind of look like the team that, people expected them to be. Like they look like a true Eastern Conference threat now, which is a big change from where we were a week ago when they were looking like it was a big time struggle and they couldn't stop CJ McCollum from scoring.
Yeah, and I think one of the things maybe you and I missed when we talked last time, when the Hawks were leading the series 2-1, was how close those two wins that the Hawks had were against. Like they were, it's a point here and there. Whereas, pretty much every Knicks win was a decent lead enough where it's not like there could be a buzzer beater situation here. You know what I mean? Like the first game they won 113-102. And then, like you said, pretty much held Atlanta under 100 points for the last 3 games of the series, outscoring them series average-wise by like almost 18 points, out-rebounding them by almost 10 rebounds, to your big conversation. And Karl Anthony Towns, like you were saying, being the series leader in points per game, and pretty much double-digit rebounds and almost 7 assists a game. So, like, yeah, he really turned it around. We were at the point, though, we were talking about potential coaching issues if they were a first-round exit, which I think would have been a justified conversation because they had just made a coaching change last year from Thibs. And so, I think it was expected, like you said, for the Knicks to win. I still am like, you really let them get 2 games, though. Like, losing the 2 close games should be a little worrisome for the Knicks fan base, in my opinion, because if whoever you do end up going up against, I'd probably be a little more worried about Boston than maybe the 76ers, but I know we'll talk about that down the line. But you start getting some close games. You've got 2 examples already in this round of the playoffs where you weren't the one to close it out. And objectively, the Hawks aren't as a talented team as maybe the Boston Celtics will be in that situation. Now, the Boston Celtics are very 3-point shooting heavy right now, and so that could be another part of the conversation. But, yeah, I'd be a little worried if these games start being, it's coming down to final possession. You've got 2 examples of the Knicks not closing it out on the Hawks now, essentially.
You mentioned coaching there a little bit with Woodson, and I think he does deserve a lot of credit, too, for some of the changes after Game 3. They were playing heavier minutes without Brunson or Towns, and they pretty much, one of them was always on the court at all times. I think that was huge. I mean, yeah, the other reality too is like, look, the first couple of games, Dyson Daniels was really, I think stifling Jalen Brunson. And I think that kind of was the realization there to go, hey, we're going to go with more of a cat-centered offense. And I think that change, Atlanta never fully recovered to that change. And that's not to say that they didn't go back to Brunson as the main guy at points. Like they certainly did. And I think when the Hawks started to clue in on Cat more, that's when you go back to Brunson. But I think it just gave them that flexibility. They had more, looks that they could throw at the Hawks than they were in the first 3 games. And yeah, I mean, look, again, it's you can't really quantify this, but I just, give the credit to the Knicks for just turning the intensity up. It felt like, that was down 2-1 is a real taste of adversity, and they kind of got punched in the mouth a bit, and they just came back. Like there really was, they answered the call. I guess that's what I'm impressed with this Knicks core. And look, they got the Celtics out of here last year, so I don't think they're certainly going to be afraid of them. They got the Sixers out 2 years ago in the first round when they met in that series. Obviously, not too much has changed there. Like, look, of course, I think whoever they get is going to be tougher. Boston, we've all said is still the favorite to win the Eastern Conference. We'll see how this Game 7 plays out, but like with Tatum back, with their full roster clicking, it's going to be another difficult out. Certainly, they're going to be motivated and want to win. If the Sixers get past Boston, yeah, you have to start taking them pretty seriously if they're able to get past the Celtics. And it does become a point where it's like, is this a team who suddenly peaking at the right time? Like, we'll switch gears here in a second, but I mean, to me, there's an argument. I mean, I think that second round series, I mean, it's going to be disrespectful to the rest of the bracket, but like that second round series to me is the conference finals. Like whoever comes out of that is going to be the heavy favorite to win the East, whether it's the Knicks or whether it's the combo of Boston Sixers. Like it's going to be like, I just haven't seen enough from any of the teams on the other side of the bracket to go, yeah, oh yeah, they'll definitely take one of those three teams out.
For any 76ers beat writers, you can steal this. Just maybe throw my name in there somewhere. The title can be, are the 76ers at their appendix? Come on. It's gold.
It works. It worked. Grant Hill said
gold.
the other night, Grant Hill the other night when Embiid threw that behind the back pass in game 6 to hit Oubre on the cut, he said no appendix, no problem. And I legit laughed out loud too. No, I mean, so yeah, let's get into Boston Sixers, which obviously, you know, listen, I have been hammering my franchise all year. I'm not suddenly about to like buy in and be a roses and sunshine, you know, fraud here on this podcast. But I mean, yeah, I give the Sixers a ton of credit for battling back. I mean, Embiid comes back in game 4 and they just got ran out of the gym. And I think that was the alarming part. And when in a game where Embiid played well, like it wasn't like, oh, Embiid played poorly. He played quite well upon his return in game 4. But, you know, we talk about the intensity with the Knicks. The intensity just wasn't there for the Sixers. They were losing every loose ball. You know, it looked over. The body language was bad.
Well, and to me, it felt like, and I think Paul George alluded to this after last game. It felt like because it was Embiid's first game back, like Maxey was trying to get him his looks where it should have been like, Maxey, just go get yours and Embiid will be involved. Like, you're good. Go get your points. Go shoot your shot instead of being focused on trying to get the teammates involved right now. And that's what it felt like in that game. And then the next game, that's what kind of started happening, you know?
Yeah, there's an adjustment for sure with Embiid coming back and just it being much different from when your main pillars of your offense are Maxey, VJ, and Paul George.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, in a must-win game, like I said, I thought the effort was poor. And I think that's where you go, you know, against Boston, a team that we all know and respect for how good they are, you just wonder what they're capable. Game 5, you know, really impressive tape-to-tape win in Boston. I thought showed a lot of fight. Obviously, Joel was great again. Tyrese was great again. But I think the big change, too, started there. The shift is that Nick Nurse really shortened the rotation. And, like, look, I've been pretty critical about Nick Nurse all year. There are many, many times where I don't feel like he's put this team in a good position to win. I love the changes he made by shortening the lineup. And like, that's what it needs to be for game 7. Like it needs to be the starting 5, Joel, Paul George, VJ, Tyrese, and Kelly Oubre. Quentin Grimes needs to be getting a ton of minutes. He's been awesome this series in the last few games. And then you got to get Drummond in there for the like 10 to 12 minutes Joel needs to rest or whatever. I think Andre's done well, especially if it's against Keita. I think if you put Drummond in against Keita, you like that matchup a little bit better than you do if Vooch is in there. But I mean, look, to me, it was game 6 was the worry, right? Like I've seen the Sixers go down, win a game where it's 3-2. But then in the past, when they've come back in Philly, a place where, again, they got ran out of the gym in game 4, they lost a really close game in game 3. You know, that is the situation where this team in the past has typically just gone out and gotten blown out by 20 or 30. Like that's what it felt like. And I think the doom and gloom was there. Instead, they responded with an extremely thorough offensive performance. And again, a pretty tape-to-tape win. Like that game was, Sixers were in control of that game after the first half, and it never really got close. Like they had a pretty consistent cushion all the way. I mean, they were up 20 at one point. I think it got down to like maybe 11. And you started to, you know, be like, oh, we got to put the starters back in. You know, you really wanted to kind of maybe go to the bench. But, I mean, they did their job and did what they needed to do. Listen, man, I mean, there's a lot. The Sixers haven't beaten Boston in a series since 1982. It's an extremely long time ago. They haven't won a game 7 since 2001. The last game 7 they won was the last conference finals they were in when they beat the Bucks in 7 to go to the finals in 2001.
That's wild.
There is, I mean, this is quite literally one of the biggest Sixers games in probably 25 years. Like the franchise can really rewrite a lot if they're able to pull this reverse 3-1 against a team like Boston, who everyone is expecting to win the Eastern Conference. And if Boston survives, remains the favorite for me to win the Eastern Conference. Like this would truly, like, you want to talk about like, you know, going through the exorcism and getting the demons out of you and off you. This would be the most I say all the time, it's like, it's the most Sixers thing of all time when just something predictably awful happens.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be the least Sixers win of all time if they're able to pull this off in game 7. I'm still fully mentally, full disclosure, I'm expecting absolute disaster. I wouldn't expect it any other way. Like I'm conditioned with this franchise to expect disaster, especially against Boston. But yeah, they can absolutely rewrite the narrative around this team big time if they're able to get Boston out of here in this first round.
And early in the series, before Embiid was there, and even the first game Embiid was back, the Celtics were running a lot of like a stacked pick and roll, and the Sixers were switching on it a lot. And so what they started doing in the last game was not switching. Embiid actually would stay back to try to stop the easy layup, essentially. And a few times, like Maxey or VJ was able to get around the defender enough to like cause enough pressure for that floater because Embiid's there to cause them to miss. So that's definitely thrown off the Celtics a little bit. And I'm curious to see what they tried to adjust for that in game 7. I think those high pick and rolls, the stack pick and rolls will be a big indicator early on of how the Sixers approach it. And if that's going to work for the whole game, essentially, if that'll be the game plan against those, because there was a few turnovers from Tatum and I think White might have been another one. There was a few big turnovers off those that really went in the Sixers' favor. And if they can continue to get that, that'll be a big part of it. But yeah, to your point, I'm with you. I was even texting you. I was like, this gives me the feeling of a 30-point blowout game, which is also what last game was supposed to feel like, or did feel like for us Sixers fans going into it. So, yeah, it feels weird. And to that, it does feel like the Sixers are a little bit hitting their stride for whatever reason, which could be crazy in a very dark horse way for a stacked team on paper to kind of show up out of nowhere and maybe surprise the league a little bit here. But let's pump the brakes on that a little bit and just see what happens tonight for the Sixers against the Celtics, because I'm still putting my money on Boston to close it out. There's a reason they're the second best team in the East record wise. I know Tatum is still relatively newer at getting back from his injury last year, and I think he went out in the third quarter of last game with some leg tightness. But we've seen more consistency from Boston than we have from the 76ers.
Yeah, I mean, history has just always been on Boston's side. And like, look, Boston's offense has looked out of whack. And defensively, it comes down to the fact that the bigs have just not really had an answer for Joel. Like, Joel's been great on Vooch. Kata's been in foul trouble a decent amount. Like, but at the end of this core even, and not just with the Sixers, like, that's the thing, is they've also played in a lot of game 7s. Like, Tatum and Brown have been here before. Yeah, I don't know. It's on their home floor. Like, typically that always is going to skew to that team. This is still right. This is still Boston's to lose. You hope again, like, it's the downside, right? Like, you didn't think going into this series without Joel, like, there'd be a way for this series to hurt you, but here we are again in a game 7 with the Sixers.
Like, back in.
Oh my God. Well, and the crazy part is too, it's not even just like the Sixers with game 7s. It's Philadelphia as a city hasn't won a game 7 since 2011. Fun fact: the last game 7 for Philadelphia as a city to win was when the Flyers beat the Sabres in the first round in 2011. They beat them in 7 that series.
Wow. Which is
the Phillies have lost game 7s. The Sixers have lost 3 game 7s in the Joel Embiid era. Like, it's brutal.
It's worth mentioning that today, actually, as of recording this, is when the Celtics 76ers game will take place. There's also a Flyers game. There's also a Phillies game. I saw someone posted, they're like, if you wanted to have the ultimate Phillies sports weekend, start the pregame at 3:30, right? Because you can start. It was, hold on, I'll pull it up. It was start.
You
the
got
pregame.
The Kentucky Derby too, low key.
Yes, so you do pregaming at 3. Phillies game kicks off at 4:10, which gives you almost 3 hours to watch the Phillies game before switching over, if the game's not already over, to the Kentucky Derby at 6:57 p.m. Once that's done, you got about 40 minutes till Sixers kick off at 7:30. And then while that's going on, you got to get ready to split screen it on YouTube TV or something like that. Hey, YouTube, cut the check. And then you got Flyers game at 8 p.m. against the Canes, which will be a very weird one for me because, like, objectively, hockey isn't the sport I care about that much. Now, I've been having a lot of fun watching it this season, but it's just the one that I'm the least interested in. But, you know, being from Philly, I'll root for the Flyers. Well, Nicole's family, they're all from Raleigh, North Carolina. So they are...
You know, guess what? They ain't family this week, bro. You got to cut them off. It ain't personal. You got to get them out of the paint.
They are, as they call them, caniacs, and and I hate it so much. And
God, I love that fan. The Hurricanes are so legit. They're a great fan base, but God, I hate caniacs so bad. That's a terrible name for those fan base. It makes you sound like you're fourth graders.
I've just been sending them all just gritty memes the whole time, like these
Hell
random.
Yeah.
Someone posted a gritty, like AI video of gritty, like behind the glass at a Penguins game, and he like reaches through the glass and grabs one of the players, like pulls him into the stand, and it's like the weirdest video.
Gritty legitimately in a do or die game 6 against the Penguins was down on the glass in a puck battle, like staring and trolling Erik Karlsson, which is just an insane thing to do in a meaningful game.
I saw the Onion posted, it was like one of their headlines. It was like, Flyers fans not sure if Gritty should be eating live pigeons. And it's like,
I mean, dude, from a personal perspective, if me as a Flyers and Sixers fan, if we pack the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Boston Celtics up in the same week, I don't think you realize that, like, it will truly be one of the greatest sports weeks of my life if we pack both of those franchises up. And we're already halfway there. I mean, the Penguins are packed up. I hope they enjoy that ride back on the Turnpike.
Well, and it's worth mentioning the Phillies are playing the Marlins too, so there's a little bit of and they got us by 2 games in the standings. So
all right, okay. I was gonna say I was like, the Marlins are like the least spicy rivalry we have in the NL.
No,
East.
but they've got 2 games on us right now. Nationals too, actually. So like we can.
I know on May 2nd they got 2 games. That's just funny.
We're already looking at it, but like, dude, the Braves are obviously the main. You know, it feels like Braves National Nets are way more spicy when it feels Phillies, but Marlins are in there and they've got a better record than us right now. So if we won last night, and I think we're on a 4-game win streak actually. If I'm not,
the Phillies fired their manager on a 4-game win streak. They're still like 5 games under 500, but they won 4 in a row, so it's a good way to start.
Yeah, we're 13-19 right now. For anybody that wanted baseball talk on a basketball podcast,
they were the worst team in the league with the Mets at one point. It was the Phillies and the Mets were tied with the worst record, which is hilarious when they're rivals.
Was it Bohm who had like the statistically worst batting average in the league or something like that? There was one of our players had that.
Feels right.
It's like if you're not hitting a home run, you're not hitting it. Period. Which is like, it feels like the case for like 7 of the players this year.
Yeah.
But
everybody also except for management apparently knew that this team would be bad this year and told them not to run the core back. But
which is crazy.
Management was just like, no, it's fine. And
it's
predictably
crazy.
They are exactly who everyone thought they'd be.
The general consensus was you guys need to do something and didn't.
Nope.
It's weird because actually for different sport, but city I'm in, that seems to be the consensus with what everyone thinks about the Jags draft. They're like, what was that? And the coach is like, no, we did good. And it's like, but did you? Like, what the hell did you do?
I got to be honest. I have zero clue who the Jags drafted. I have been so, like, I watched the NFL draft a little bit, but like I was just not in the mode at all. So you tell me, I'll trust you.
They didn't have a first round because of the Hunter stuff from last year. Right. They traded it. Mm-hmm. Their first pick, I think, was in the 2nd or 3rd round, and they took a tight end. So that started the issues. And a lot of the guys that they took after that, everyone's like, okay, but they were more of like a probably 2nd string kind of player, not like a starter right off the rip sort of deal. And I think that's where some of the Jags fan base is honing in on at this point. They think out of the draft, they think maybe 2 players actually will play next year.
Well, we'll see. Who knows?
I mean, it's also they did fine last year, so there's a theory of like, well, if you're just gonna I mean, you did lose two of your best defensive guys, so that is part of that. But
like I said, I'm trusting you big time on that front. But all right, let's get back to it. I mean, let's stay in Florida. Let's go to Magic and Pistons. The Orlando Magic. Good Lord.
That's the most Orlando Magic game I could ever see.
Well, that feels harsh. I don't know about that.
No, because I have been on the Orlando Magic's case for this. Implosions in the second half of the season, implosions in the second half of the game, and last night's game, was it last night? It was last night's game.
Yeah.
79 points total?
Yeah. They were up 22 at half and lost the game by 14, in which they scored 19 points in the second half. Justin, they shot 10% from the field. They went almost an hour of real time between scoring buckets. It honestly might have been the worst offensive performance I've ever seen in a half. And for a team who, again, I thought you got to be a little frustrated with it, but up 3-1. We talked last week. They need to win game 3. Big win there. Win game 4, defend your home court. You lose game 5 in Detroit, but I don't think you feel bad about it. I think you go, we missed a few free throws, like it was an 8-point game, and then you come out brilliant first half. I mean, everything they needed, up 22 points, everything is clicking. They're cooked. I don't know how else to say it. Like,
how do you come back from that?
You don't. I don't think you do. I think Detroit's going to absolutely blow the doors off them in game 7. And I mean, look, where I will bail the Magic out and give them 1 ounce of credit is that they're missing their best player. Franz Wagner's not playing. Like, he hasn't played since the fourth quarter of game 4. Typically, Franz has been their guy at the end of games. They are missing his presence big time. And I think it showed in game 6.
I remember when he went out, he looked very distraught. And I remember being like, oh, what is it? Well, like the reporter or the announcers even just kind of mentioned, like, oh, he's sitting. Like, not even like a he's hurt type thing. But yeah, I mean, when you don't have him in, that it clearly affects the Orlando Magic. We've seen it in the season, and then now that game last night was rough. That's the coldest of cold you can go from shooting percentage wise.
It's an absolute disaster. There's no way around it. I mean, it's beyond her. It's stunning. It's so bad. It's stunning. I mean, everybody, like, the box score is just unbelievable. Like, so many guys are over. Like, Banchero. Well, I guess we'll get back into Paulo for a second. The biggest thing with Franz that you worry about too is because it's a calf injury. Like, obviously, like the correlation there with calf and Achilles is super real. Yeah. I think we've seen that at this point. So you can't really rush him back.
Right.
I think of course he's dying to play this game 7 to really give them any chance, and maybe that gives you the spark. Because you're right. Like, I just don't know how you mentally come back from that. Like, on your home floor, the crowd is super involved. You have them. They are fully eliminated basically. And to just go out and have, like, that's the crazy part is it was like Detroit didn't even have that great of a second half outside of Cade. Cade was brilliant in the fourth. Yeah. He was every bit of the superstar that Detroit needed him to be. But it wasn't like Detroit had some like scorching second half offensive performance either. No. Orlando just stunk it up like unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, yeah, Desmond Bane unfortunately going cold at the wrong time. He's been pretty great all series, but like they needed his shooting there. It wasn't there. To me, again, it's just the alarm bells go back off for a guy who is in Paolo Banchero where, listen, he's been great for a large portion of this series, but they needed him to be a superstar last night, and he just wasn't. He was bad. And then more importantly, he got passive towards the end of the game. Orlando completely stopped attacking the rim. They just kept settling for jumpers. Yep. And that's where it's like, you guys aren't even trying to, like, when the offense isn't working, get to the rack, try to get fouled, try to get something going. Yeah. And they just did it. They completely shrunk in the moment. I mean, it's hard to think of it as anything other than a choke job, just a complete meltdown by this Magic team.
And the loss the game before to Detroit, 109-116, though you lost, you still had a lot of positive conversation around it. I mean, Paolo dropped 45. I think he was 2 points off from passing Dwight Howard for like the most points for an Orlando Magic player in a playoff game. I think Cade also dropped 45, and I'm pretty sure he tied the record, if not set the record for the Pistons in that same category. So those two were dueling all game. And like you said, you had Desmond Bane shooting 40% from 3, dropped 18 in that game. Anthony Black had a pretty good game there too, 19 points. And so, like, it looked like it was working. I'm pretty sure Tobias Harris actually in that game, he dropped 23 points, but I remember being like, Tobias is playing so bad. But points, I guess, don't lie. So, you come out of that game, even though you lost, like you were saying, you feel kind of good about it. And then you just absolutely drop a stink bomb the next game in the second half. Even the first half, like you said, you started off good. That's, going into a game 7, I feel like the momentum of that could totally throw off everything from the Magic standpoint.
They didn't make a field goal until there was 2:24 left in the game in the second half.
Someone told me, I think it might have been Nicole's brother when we were watching the game last night. We were watching Cavs Raptors, which is I'm actually excited to talk about because that game last night was fun, but man, did it piss me off. And so we can get into that too. But I forget where I was going with it now. The Orlando Magic. Hold on, I'll find it. I don't remember what I was going to say about it. Shoot. All right. Well, never mind. Guess it wasn't important.
Offense was just difficult.
It was from I think it was 8:30 to 9:25. They went scoreless. Like actual time. They almost went an entire hour without a point.
Yeah.
And so
it is. It's crazy. It's unfathomable. Like I keep saying that over and over again, but it's just it's hard to. I don't know how you overcome the shock of that. And the offense had points where they bogged down during the season, but
if you came to me at the beginning of the first round of the playoffs with no games played yet, and you said at one point during this playoffs, a team will shoot miserably for 2 quarters and blow an entire lead and blah, 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 whatever you want to say with it, I would have been like, yeah, that's the Orlando Magic going to do that. That's for sure the Orlando Magic. And guess what? Yep, no surprise there.
Yeah, and I mean, really, it was the beginning of the third quarter where it swung. Yeah. I mean, and this was the story for Detroit in Game 2 as well, where they had that dominant third quarter to come back and win. They were down 24. It was within 10, I think, not even 6 minutes into the quarter. And so I think quickly. That the momentum for sure swung there, and Orlando I thought had a moment because they had Anthony Black and Tristan Da Silva hit back-to-back threes, and that's where it's like, all right, we're back up. If you feel good up 16, you stop bleeding a little bit, and then it just never stopped. They just couldn't get. And again, I don't even think the Magic's defense played that bad. It was just so ineffective on offense that it didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe there's a deeper conversation to have in the offseason on the offensive side for the Orlando Magic. But you're still in the playoffs now, so you got to try to close out Game 7.
Yeah. And I mean, look, give Detroit a little bit of credit defensively too. I thought Osar Thompson was everywhere in Game 6. I think he's been everywhere the last few games. We'll see. I mean, you got to feel good if you're Detroit. It's hard for me to find any semblance of positive to think Orlando is going to swing this now. I mean, listen, they find a way to win. Nobody's ever going to talk about this Game 6 ever again, but it's hard for me from just seeing that type of body blow like that to think that they're going to be able to get off the mat. I just feel like they just got completely crushed. They know they had their chance and they just blew it.
The real MVPs are the Orlando Magic fans that watched that game or went to the game and didn't leave and stayed through that insane shooting just plummet. Because if I were there in person and we were 20 minutes into them not scoring, I'd probably be like, all right, we got to go because I'm about to lose my mind. I'm not sitting here to watch a team miss shots for 20 minutes straight.
Look, I mean, obviously, I got a lot of friends in Orlando. My Orlando group chat was in a dark place last night. It was bleak, to say the least.
I thought about sending Chase just some eye emojis just to really
listen, let me tell you something. I talked to Chase last night. Chase would not have appreciated those eye emojis. That would have been you got to know when to push. It's
that's why I didn't send it. That's why I didn't send it.
If we get crushed tonight and Chase were sending me the eye emojis, I know I'd be mad. So that's why it's one of those things. It's if I know it would make me mad, I'm not going to send it to other people in troll. It was pretty. And look, again, I think Franz being out is the biggest deal. That does really matter to me. Yes. And I think, again, has made abundantly clear that I don't know if it's even a hot take anymore, but Franz Wagner is the best player on the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, you might be right there. I mean, obviously Paulo is up in the conversation, but if we're not getting it done without Franz, so
Franz is way more consistent. He's just more important to that offense. But all right, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go to the last game 7. Of course, we got Cavs and Raptors. RJ Barrett getting the Halley bounce from last night to, crazy shot in overtime to win that game 6 at home, going back to Cleveland for game 7. We of course know my thoughts on this Cleveland core, and I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record, but Justin, you got a lot of opinions on this game, so I'm going to let you, I'm giving you the ball, go ISO here for a bit, which is kind of the theme of what Cleveland did last night. So let's talk about it.
I mean, yeah, let's just go to the overtime part where you lost the game because you were up, right? The Cavs were up points. They were winning the game. There was 11 seconds left. They sub out all their non-free throw shooters. Totally fine. Get that. One of them being Dennis Schroeder. Again, a good free throw shooter, so I'm not going to hate on it.
Game 5 hero, Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah. But then you give the ball to Schroeder. You have James Harden checking the ball, passing the ball into play, and I'm like, okay, maybe it would make sense for him to be one of the guys that maybe gets the ball here, but okay, he's a good passer. Like, I get it. He's always got a lot of assists. Dennis Schroeder gets the ball and he's backcourt and he's kind of like, scrambling to get out of there so that they don't get a, backcourt violation. And he runs up and he jump throw passes, tries to get it to Evan Mobley. I believe it was Evan Mobley. And in all of that, the ball gets tipped and it goes out of bounds to go back to the Raptors. And the whole time I'm like, what the hell just happened? And on top of that, I looked down and I'm like, the Cavs had an extra timeout. At no point during Dennis Schroeder panicking, which you could tell what was happening, like he was frantic. At no point did you go, hey, somebody, we should call a timeout here. We should just reset this thing. You know what I mean? And then obviously then what happened. But to take it back to the rest of the game is like, yeah, you had Evan Mobley with 17 points going into the third quarter. And instead of feeding him the ball, because he was a hot hand, it seemed like, you had Donovan Mitchell and James Harden just doing this ISO, hold the ball for a few minutes, and then run in and try to take a weird fadeaway shot, a floater here and there that seemed unnecessary. And it was just like, what are you guys doing? Get the offense involved. Get Mobley involved. He's scoring almost at will, it felt like, when he had the ball. I'm pretty sure it was 24, 25 points last night before even going into overtime, Evan Mobley did. So it's like the Cavs on paper and talent-wise, and this is no hate on the Raptors, should be significantly better than the Raptors.
Talk about it.
You are out here just not able to create any offense. You're making stupid mistakes, and maybe that's on the coach for not calling a timeout, but you're making stupid mistakes in overtime where clearly those little injuries are what lost you the game. It's wild to me that the games that we're going into a game 7 in this series. On paper, the Cavs should have closed this out a while ago.
Yeah, the Raptors aren't even have their full lineup. Brandon Ingram didn't play. Emmanuel Quickly's not playing. So, the Raptors are the house money team here. Look, they've been, spicy all year long, but this Cavs team is 100% better on paper. They should be winning this series. They fumbled game 4. They had a chance to win that game. They were up, I think, 8 points with 4.5 left. They didn't close the job. And the worst part about this game, too, is look, the Raptors had big leads. They were up double digits in points of the third and the fourth quarter. You fight all the way back. Evan Mobley hits a huge shot to force overtime. And then you still find a way to fumble in overtime the way, like you said, the end of the game miscue that lead to the huge RJ basket. And again, sometimes you get the bounce.
And what's crazy,
Lord knows the Raptors have gotten the bounce sometimes.
Oh, dude, that bounce from...
Listen, I don't want to talk about it. I know what was in my head. I know what was in your head. We don't need to talk about it.
The second it happened, Nicole's brother said something to me, and I was like, it took me back to the train. I was getting on a train when it happened. I don't want to talk about it. But to that whole point is yes, Evan Mobley got a look up with that 1.6 seconds they had left after the Raptors hit the shot. But Mobley hadn't taken a shot almost the entire overtime. So it's like, you choose now to get him back involved? The dude was cooking. Like, he was 42% from three. He shot 60% field goal. And Donovan Mitchell and James Harden hardly passed to him until the very end of overtime. They started getting him involved again. And Donovan Mitchell and Harden, like, Donovan was 20% for three. He was 2 for 10. Harden was 25%, 1 for 4. It's like, and then Harden's field goal, he's 5 for 14. It was like, guys, what are we doing? Like, get the guy who's 60% field goal percentage, get him involved, get Jarrett Allen down low more involved. Like, those were the two guys that felt like they were feeling the game out. Dean Wade was not doing great either. But that's a different conversation. I just was like, I can't believe that they're living and dying by Donovan and James when as an casual Cavs fan watching that game was like, Jarrett Allen's the hot hand. I know he's the hot hand. And you know how I know he's the hot hand? I put $20 on him to get over 20 points in the game when I saw him at 10 points because he did it so quick. I was like, oh, this guy's cooking this game. You know what I mean? Like, that's how blatantly obvious Evan Mobley cooking in that game, that last game, that game 6 was. And they didn't feed it to him. He got 26 points, so he was getting it anyway, but it just felt like they weren't going to him.
Yeah. And I mean, look, they're back in Cleveland for game 7.
Yeah.
None of it changes the fact, again, that it feels like this is the better team. They just won a game 5 there. But I mean, look, this core is filled with playoff disappointment. Donovan Mitchell, frankly, needs to be thanking his heavenly stars that Joel Embiid exists and is the face of playoff futility in the NBA currently, because otherwise the dialogue would be very loud around him, I think, at this point. Yeah, I mean, for the Raptors, it's great. You can go in there and play with house money. Like, if the Raptors pull this off, it's going to be such a success for them to have won a first-round series against a team that they had no... But again, this has been the story of the Cavs. Even the series they win are difficult, and that they shouldn't be difficult. And this core has just continued to disappoint in the playoffs. And, like, at some point, like, this is really unexpected. This is who they are. Like, I respect them for moving on from Garland and taking a new swing at it with Harden, but it's like, if Donovan and James aren't going, they don't really have the answers.
And then if you start taking, like, no hate on Donovan, but like, you start taking Donovan's, record now with the Cavs in the playoffs, and you go back to the Jazz time in the playoffs with even Rudy Gobert, you're like, things are starting to look pretty rough. And you got two major choke artists in the playoffs on the same team now, Harden and Mitchell a little bit. So we'll
see. Cinema on tap for game 7. No, these are either way though. Getting 2 game 7s on Sunday is going to be incredible. Obviously, we'll see how our nerves are doing after tonight.
And the weather here is supposed to be nasty. We're finally getting rain. I don't know if you've been following along with that, but like, we haven't gotten rain all of 2026 essentially. And there's like a massive wildfire going on that's like 6% contained, and like hundreds. I think it's about over 100 now of houses are like getting pretty much broken down to the ash. So it's finally raining here. So selfishly, that gives me a reason to sit inside and watch sports. So I'll take that.
Yeah, listen, whatever the excuse may be, you need it. Everybody's got to lock in, man your battle stations here on the Drive-In Dish NBA podcast. Welcome, everybody. My name is Kevin Rafuse. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Justin Cousart.
All right. Follow me here for a second with this stat. The Joel Embiid 76ers have lost 3 game 7s, and we've already talked about that, right?
Yep.
All taking place on Sunday and are in odd number years. Tomorrow's game 7 is on, or today's game 7 is on Saturday, and an even number day. The last 3 were also on holidays: Mother's Day, Father's Day, then Mother's Day again, which is not. And it's worth mentioning, Joel Embiid had an appendix for all of those games. So one could say, if we win this game, was the appendix the 76ers cursed for Joel Embiid?
I just like... it would be the coolest thing this franchise has done since I was in 4th grade. That was like 25 years ago, dude. I am begging them to please just once give us something.
Yeah.
Like I'm beaten. I feel like I'm on the battlefield. I'm full of scars. My helmet's been blown off. Like my clothes are tattered. I'm bleeding in 4 places. Like, can you please just give us some sort of water? I'm begging you.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I love that the KG clip is making its rounds too, where KG, they go to game 7 and what's he's like, yo, what we gotta bring? We gotta bring like 3 hand grenades, some knives, like whatever he says. He just goes through this whole arsenal, and it's like, all right, KG, well,
chill.
It's like, it was a little, I felt a little unnecessary, but
like, calm down, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, history has not been in favor of the Sixers, and that's why I think we're all so jaded about it. We'll see. Here we go again. What else is there to say? I also got to give, this is not really a basketball stat, but more of a podcast stat. This has to be the latest we've ever done the intro in terms of the podcast. Like, we've had some go long, and like, listen, we knew what this was going to be, but I think we're like 40 minutes, I think, in right now. Something like the show that.
Before, like, we're closer to the end than we are the beginning.
No, like, honestly, we just got some West talk about and play some grid, and that's about it. But leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad, read on the show. If you are a podcast listener, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And find us on YouTube. Like we said, we do the grid at the end of episodes, and so you can watch the video part of that. YouTube, just search Drive and Dish NBA. You can subscribe when new episodes come out.
Now, a word from our sponsors.
So we'll go out to the West, and I guess in honor of staying with the things that'll happen the earliest, and in terms of schedule wise, I guess we'll go Timberwolves Spurs first, because that game or series is supposed to kick off on Monday. So we can kind of look at both, but I guess, do you want to take a step back beforehand and talk Trailblazers Nuggets first? Because I feel like it's 2 very different conversations. Trailblazers, similar to kind of what we were talking about with, I guess it's kind of the Raptors, whereas, like, if, even if they lose, feels like you were playing with house money in terms of, like, you guys have kind of overachieved for the season. We feel good. To the other side, the Nuggets feel very much in the same range of what will feel like with the Cavs or the Pistons if they don't beat the Magic and Raptors in terms of disappointment. And it's like, oh man, like, what are you going to do now? Because, like, it didn't look good. And then you got Jokic, like, starting to fight at the end of the series. It's just like, could this be, it always felt like it was Timberwolves Nuggets kind of battling it out for number 2 in maybe the Spurs kind of jumped it now, but those 2 always felt like they were kind of battling it out for second or third best in the West. And it finally feels like the Timberwolves might have started to, like, figure it out and take that title.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really impressive win for the Timberwolves, especially, of course, just like given everything that's happened. You lose Dante DiVincenzo to an Achilles tear for the rest of the season, and it's obviously out now for weeks and most likely, unfortunately, for the rest of the playoffs now with this bone bruise. I give Jaden McDaniels a ton of credit to close them out in Game 6. I thought that was really impressive for the Wolves not to fold when they lose their best player like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, again, the emotional toll is there, and I give them a lot of credit. On the flip side of that coin, right? Like, if I'm Denver, knowing that you were kind of gifted an opportunity here with Ant out of the series, then to still not be able to get it done in a year after you've retooled this roster, you're a few years now removed from winning the championship. Like, yeah, Jokic's prime is he's only getting older. You have one of the best players in NBA history. You're certainly, no matter how the rest of this run goes, it's been an objective success. I don't think anyone would argue that. But yeah, the Nuggets have to really do some soul searching here, because for a team that expected to be competing in the Western Conference, to go out in the first round to an undermanned at the end of the series Timberwolves team, like, yeah, you start to really ask some questions about this team, and we'll get into their offseason, because I think there's a lot to talk about, and I think we just, kind of want to move ahead to the second round here a little bit. But, like, right, Portland, you're thrilled you got in the playoffs. You got out of the play-in, you kept a semi-competitive series with the San Antonio Spurs, who are just better than you at this point. For the Nuggets, like, right, we're talking about, like, we're not going to do the full despair meter today, but the Nuggets are near the top.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that last game. You got Cameron Johnson dropping 27. You got Jokic dropping 28. But then you see, like, Jamal Murray shooting 23% from field goal percentage and only really contributing 12 points in that game. Tim Hardaway had 13. But, like, it feels top heavy. You know, you look at that, you're like, you got two guys that are scoring, and then even you take it to the Timberwolves, like you were saying, you got 4 or 5 guys over double digit with Naz Reid and Terrence Shannon Jr., Gobert, Randall, McDaniels. Like you've got like the scoring comes from everybody. I actually kind of forgot Mike Conley was there. I thought he was retired, but Mike Conley's still on the Timberwolves cooking. Like, do your thing, man. 26 minutes, good for you. It feels like two very different moments for both teams. It feels like the Timberwolves are finally making that turn to be the team that we thought they could be, whereas the Nuggets are making the turn in the opposite direction of like, you guys got to figure something out now.
Yeah, I say yes and no with the Timberwolves, and like it's tough because they're injured, and so
Yes.
right off the rip, like I mean it's hard for me to go, oh, they made the turn when I think they're going to lose to San Antonio in the second round. Like I think this is the end of the road for the Timberwolves. Just
But you don't think
again,
Rudy Gobert could take a similar approach to Wemby as he took with Jokic and just kind of pester the hell out of him and necessarily like don't worry about offense, just make sure Wemby's annoyed at all times, kind of deal.
No, 100%. You literally read my mind. That's the matchup of the series to watch. I really want to see how Gobert is able to defend Wemby. I mean, of course, a ton of familiarity there as well, both playing for the French national team.
There's got to be some kind of there's got to be some headline wise. There's got to be like a Paris or French some kind of headline that they should be able to do on that one.
Yeah, I mean, and Gobert again, right? Like I thought he did a great job on Jokic. Really probably underrated job on Jokic in that first round series, and so I'm excited to see how he rises to the challenge. For San Antonio, it's been their guards. I mean, De'Aaron Fox has done a great job at being their closer. I thought he's been excellent down the stretch. We'll see them probably start to go to him more here in these next few rounds, but yeah, it's also just tough. Like, Minnesota, I don't think is going to go down and just roll over, but it's hard for me to find a way for them to win this series given the injuries. Like, because even if Ant comes back, I don't think he's going to be anywhere near 100%. And so at that point, like, yeah, I just think the talent gap is too wide with San Antonio being fully healthy here.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting looking at the series averages from the season. They're pretty even. The only thing, and it's kind of surprising just because Wemby, and you just assume he's going to grab more. The Timberwolves out rebound the Spurs by at least 3 or 4 rebounds a game. So that's really the only differential in terms of the averages of what to expect. But yeah, I think you go back to it, you look at who's available, who's injured, and yeah, if 2 of the main guys essentially for the Timberwolves aren't there, then that should open things up for the Spurs a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. And then, I mean, of course, the other series, OKC going up against the Lakers. The Lakers closing out the Rockets in 6, up 3-0 in that series. Houston battling back to win 2 games, but a firm close there in game 6.
The Rockets are very similar to and this is no hate on the Lakers because I know the Lakers aren't the Raptors, but the Rockets are a team that I'm like, guys, on paper, you guys should be so much better. Like Sengun, watching him play last night, I was like, dude, he is not good right now. Like, what is happening? Like, most of his points in that game, I think he had 17 or 18. Most of them came from free throws. Like, he couldn't actually make the shot. It was upsetting. And at no point during that game did you feel like the Rockets were going to be able to make a comeback. There was even a little bit of dirtiness going on in there where players were like pulling arms and stuff. And I think someone got hit in the groin. It was getting weird. Now, Hachimura, 71% from 3, which was very noticeable. He was 5 for 7. It's like, if you can continue that. DeAndre Ayton felt like he was getting every rebound. Marcus Smart was everywhere. Austin Reeves they couldn't stop him driving to the lane in that last game. And you're just looking at the Rockets like, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys are supposed to be way better than this. And obviously Kevin Durant wasn't there. Van Vliet wasn't there. Steven Adams wasn't there. That's 3 big names. But if you're going to use that, you can tell the Lakers don't have Luka. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, that kind of voids the entire argument. Both teams are down their objectively best player.
The Rockets are down way more, I think, and
I
there's a little
agree.
bit of an excuse there. But you're right. I think for the Rockets, there's a lot of, and given the way how they lost some of these games, I think there's going to be
Yeah.
some questions about the core and who's
Yeah.
ready. And I think they are. They're going to have a Kevin Durant discussion about like,
You
you
have
know,
to.
do
Yeah.
you try to double down on somebody with his core? So like the spicy move there is to go all in for Kawhi and bring Kawhi in. The Rockets certainly have the young guys in their core to be able to do that. It's the question of, do you want to make a radical change here?
Yeah.
I think the Van Vliet injury probably, and we talked about this way back in the
Well then,
offseason when it
yeah.
happened. Like, I think that was a way bigger deal for this Houston team than probably anybody gave it credit for at the time. They
Yeah.
needed that true point guard, and they just didn't really have it all year. But yeah, I mean, there's fair questions to ask about some of these guys now and some of the core. KD not healthy. That's happened at points now here in the last few years as well. We know he's brilliant when he played, but they certainly needed his spark there a little bit. And look, I give them credit for finding two games here a little bit. They could have just rolled over, especially after the way they lost that third game. Like they could have
Yeah.
rolled over and died right there, which would have been way more alarming. So give them credit, but yeah, I mean, this is a Lakers team where you got Austin Reeves back, and so I think that that's important. He missed points of the series, but I mean, this is essentially 41-year-old LeBron and some dudes, and like still out here getting it done. Like that's the other big takeaway for me this series. Again, is like LeBron James is 41 years old and still doing this, like taking out a team that had real expectations going into this series, being the leader, being the center point of that offense without Luka out, and
And
just
win
getting it done.
and winning a game so in this case in the last game, winning a game so easily that they're taking them out before the game's over. Like
Hmm.
you get to go rest now. You did it. We're good, you know? And you could tell because we were watching the game and again the delinquent in me, I had the LeBron James over 29.5 points and you're watching this game and you're seeing the score and you're like, when are they going to pull them out? Maybe they won't because like like they can close it out, but it got towards there was probably like 4 minutes left and LeBron's just assist after assist after assist. I was like, this guy is not looking to score anymore. He's so done. And he ended the night with 28 points. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Couldn't even get fouled because they were in the bonus at that, or the Rockets were in the bonus at that point. So I was like, you couldn't foul him to, just get two more free throws for us.
Vegas knows, bro. I'm telling you,
Oh yeah,
Vegas knows. Um,
they do.
the other or what was I going to say with the Lakers? Hachimura. You mentioned Hachimura.
Hachimura was
He was
cooking.
really great all
Oh,
series.
yeah.
Like you want to talk about a guy that stepped up, and he stepped up for the past in the playoffs for them.
DeAndre
So it's good
8
to
and
see him.
2. I like DeAndre 8 and 2. Like he didn't stuff the stat sheet, but it felt like he was everywhere, getting boards and
Yeah,
and he
his
just
energy
felt like he
was good. That's always the
16
debate with
rebounds. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like that's always the DeAndre Ayton debate or discussion. Is it's just like,
He was
is
there.
his
Yeah.
motor going to be there? Is he playing with that energy? He has large portions of the game where he doesn't. And so yeah, it's good to see him active and be because they need him.
When they
Like
run when they run like a Luke Kennard, Marcus Smart, Austin Reeves, DeAndre Ayton, and like LeBron lineup, it's the weirdest looking lineup, but it works. Like I don't know
Yeah.
how, but it works, man. Like
It's crazy too because like you look at that lineup and that would have been like a
yeah.
Mad Lib 4 years ago. You'd be like, wait, what? All these
Well,
guys are
Austin,
playing together?
dude, Austin Reeves in general, you see him on the court. Luke Kennard too. No offense to him. I mean, I love Luke, but both those guys, you see them on the court, and you're both just like they don't seem to fit. They just look smaller than everybody.
Oh, it's because they're white, aren't they, Just?
Well, it could be a little bit of that, but there's I forget his name now too, but the same thing for the Rockets. There was a guy. I should remember his last name because we were joking about it, but he looked like he was standing up against
Shepherd?
LeBron. Yes, he was guarding LeBron at one point, and I was just like, dude, like Reed is so small. What is it? Yeah, he's 6'2". He's 6'2", and he's 185 pounds. Like that's my height. And LeBron's what, like 6'6"? LeBron's hold on. Yeah, LeBron is 6'9", 250. So LeBron's almost got like 100 pounds on him and like 7 or 8 inches. Like, holy cow! It looks so funny on TV, but yeah. So it was a rough game for the Rockets, and I think some tough discussions this offseason to kind of put a cap on it.
Yeah, certainly a team to watch. The Lakers already for the second round saying that Luka's not going to play. So I mean,
There's
maybe
that, yeah.
if that gets extended, then maybe there's a chance at the end of the 6 or 7. But yeah, I mean, again, for as strong as LeBron has been, I do think this is the end of the road. OKC sweeping Phoenix, getting them out of here. just super impressive. There's no other way around it. Like OKC just didn't play with their food that series, and I respect that from a defending champion. I do think they're going to be heavy favorites against the Lakers. And spoiler alert, I think we're on a crash course for an extremely strong conference finals between the Thunder and the Spurs, kind of the matchup that we've been looking at. I mean, to be quite honest, I think the Spurs got to be thrilled with the Timberwolves getting Jokic out of here too. A guy who has given Wemby fits in the past. So, again, not to say that Gobert's not up for the challenge, but certainly less of an offensive flurry you got to worry about there too as well. I don't know. It looks like we're going to have a really competitive conference finals there on tap. Like I don't want to, shortchange these second round series, but like I do think given the state of each team's respective roster and given injuries on the other side, like there are two clear favorites here in these Western Conference series.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I think, we go back and you just kind of overall look at it. I feel like the East will continue to be the more exciting
way more
side to watch. Obviously, I mean, when you got 3 game 7s, but like regardless of who the Knicks go up against, I feel confident that we'll get some really good matchups out of that. Now, I'm as a Sixers fan, I want to hate on it and feel like that could also go the other way. But then, if it's Pistons, Magic, Cavs, Raptors, from what we've seen from them, that should be close now because all of them are frauds at the end of the day. And I think it's going game 7 regardless of the matchup. And I want nothing more. And I know the Magic are an 8 seed, but I want nothing more than the Raptors to go to the conference finals at this point because I think that would just be the most chaotic situation for the East Coast to have Raptors against like Knicks, Celtics, or Sixers. Like that would be wild.
I mean, at that point, the Raptors, you're looking around and going, are they the Pacers of last year? Like
right.
where it just like starts to click at the right time. You've got just a bunch of guys who know their roles, I mean, maybe not, I don't know if Scotty Barnes is maybe beams as high of a star as the way that like Hallie did.
No, I'm so out on. I'm such like it sounds bad. I'm like such a hater on the Raptors, like quote unquote stars. It's like, come on, RJ Barrett. Like, come on. It sounds bad, but I am.
It's so funny though, because like them packing up Cleveland is good for my agenda though.
Well, that's kind of why I want it. And then like if they pack up Cleveland and say the Pistons go on, I kind of just want chaos. So I'd rather them pack up the Pistons too. If the Magic win, part of me will want to root for them, but I've been such a hater all season. I got to continue to keep that energy. So I'll be a hater again. But like, dude, the Raptors go to the conference finals, regardless of your Knicks. If you're the Knicks, you're the Celtics, you're the 76ers, you probably feel kind of good about that.
I think, like I said at the beginning of the show, I think whoever comes out of that side of the bracket, whether it's any of those 3 teams, has got to look around and go, we feel pretty good. Like, I'm not saying but they're just, none of those teams are also invincible either. Like, you feel like Boston has that step but it is weird with this Boston core. Because they should have buried the Sixers twice already and they just didn't. They looked horrible in both those games.
They're living and dying by the 3. Like they can't hit a 3 right now. And so they're dying by it.
They just do this every year though, too, in the playoffs. And like, it's hard to really like knock it necessarily because it's a core that's won a championship and has been to the finals. So like, it's worked, but they have these inexplicable stinkers all the time. And, against some of these Eastern Conference teams, you may not worry about it, but like long term, if Boston comes out of the conference, you're going to be able to do that against OKC or San Antonio. And so that's kind of my point too, is like you worry about them, but also they could totally win the championship and no one would bat an eye. Like they seem to find a way to do that. That's why you feel good about them in this game 7 going back to it is like they've done this in the past. But I'm always like, why are they playing with their food so much? Like, what are you doing? You crushed this. You had the Sixers team fully like on the mat, ready to tap out. And then you just completely give them life with horrible games in game 5 and game 6 to the point where it's like, you're right. Like this could be over. Like there's a chance the season is over and we go, wait a minute, we just got Tatum back, had a wide open conference and are out in the first round. Like that's an earth shattering loss for Boston.
That's literally why I put money on Boston when I was out in Vegas, because I was like, oh, Tatum's about to come back. Dude, they're going to be slept on hard. And they really kind of maybe still are. But like you said, they're going into a game 7. Anything can happen. Do we want to make conference finals predictions since we're at a point where like
for the East?
For both.
No, I'm not making conference finals predictions for the East. No, there's too much left. There's way too many scenarios that can go on right now. I'll make the second round predictions.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, like, of course I want the Sixers to win, and I'm begging them to, but like everything in my body is telling me that Boston's going to win Game 7. I don't think there's the surprise there. I do think the Cavs, despite my complete lack of faith in them, are going to eke out 7 at home. And I think they'll make it difficult, but I do think they're going to win.
Yeah.
I think Detroit is going to win Game 7. I think Orlando I don't know how they mentally recover from that Game 6. And then if you want me to pick Detroit, Cleveland, God, I don't know. It's a fraud off. And that's crazy because I've said so many good things about Detroit this year, but Detroit has not impressed me at all.
They're not.
I think I'm leaning Detroit still in that series. I would pick Detroit over Cleveland. I think I'd have like Detroit in 6, but yeah, I mean that one it truly could go either way, and I don't think either of those teams will make it pretty. I think they're going to do like it, and Knicks and whoever they got. It kind of depends on the matchup, but
yeah, I think the West Coast for conference finals is chalky. I think it'll be Thunder Spurs.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think it'll happen kind of quick, especially with the Timberwolves depending on health. Maybe the Lakers get one. I'll give them, but especially without Luka.
No, I'll give them one. It'll be a gentleman's sweep. I'm going to give them one.
Sure.
I'm going to give Minnesota one too.
Okay, I like that. And then, I kind of like the idea of going chaos. I'll say the Magic figure out a way to do it. An 8-1 upset. Let's say Magic do that and say the Cavs will still win. Okay? Cavs will still win. Cavs will beat the Magic to go to the conference finals against, and just because I want to be a homer, I'll say it's against the 76ers. That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
A 4 to 7 seed in the conference finals in the East Coast would be, wow.
It would be wild.
Fun. It'd be fun, man. It'd be fun. I'd be all about it. So
yeah, but all right. Should we play some Immaculate Grid here real quick? We'll speed run.
Sure thing. Let's do it. Let's knock it out.
And
okay.
For the podcast listeners, again, you can always watch the Immaculate Grids on YouTube. Just search Driving Dish NBA podcast. All right. So for our columns left to right this week, we got the Pacers, the Hawks, and 5 assists per game per season. Our rows from top to bottom, we got the Mavericks, the Timberwolves, and 20,000 career points. So let's do it. Anything you're feeling right away?
My first thought went to, and I don't know if he played for either of them. I know Tiago Splitter played for the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he ended up on the Mavs or Timberwolves.
No, I don't think he did either.
Mike Connolly would definitely work for Ricky Rubio actually would work for Timberwolves, 5 assists per game, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he would be. I mean, I'd imagine
probably the highest
one of the top guys for that.
Who Mayo? You think OJ?
OJ played for Dallas. I don't think he had 5 assists per game.
No, and then not Jimmer. Who am I thinking of?
I don't know. With not Jimmer, I truly don't know.
I'm thinking of I'm trying to think of the point guard for the that point guard that was there during the Dirk run.
The Mavs?
Yeah.
Are you talking JJ Barea?
Barea, that's it. Yes. He probably has 5, right?
Didn't we get burnt with JJ Barea doing 5 assists though? That feels like a vivid
it could be. It wouldn't surprise me. Did Evan Turner played for the Hawks?
Evan Turner did play for the Hawks. I don't think he played for the other two though.
I don't think he did either.
I wish there was Matt. No, you mentioned JJ Barea. Low-key, JJ Barea would work for Mavs Timberwolves if it crossed over. He did play for the Timberwolves.
Really? He did play for the Timberwolves?
Yeah.
Shoot, I just had somebody. Well, didn't Teague go to the Wolves at one point?
Teague definitely played for the Teague played for the Wolves and the Hawks for sure.
Hawks would be an easy connect there. Did Lance Stevenson? He was Lakers at one point, Pacers.
Stevenson played for a bunch of teams, but I don't think it was either of those.
I can't remember the other like side teams that he did. Dude, the Pacers one's kind of tough.
Pacers and there's who am I? Oh my God, there's an obvious one for Pacers and Wolves that I'm blanking on right now, and it's bothering me. I'll come back to that in a sec. Um, I'm fairly certain Wes Matthews works
Ooh,
somewhere on here. I think he works for. He played for
Wolves.
Atlanta, and I know he
West.
played for Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Was he ever on the Wolves? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he was on the Pacers too, low key.
Ooh.
Um, so Pacers, Dallas, Hawks, Dallas. I think he works either one there. Um, I mean, the 20,000 points is kind of obvious for both. I mean, you got Wilkins for Atlanta.
Kristaps? Porzingis for Hawks, Mavs? Did he ever end up on the Hawks?
No, he did. Yeah,
that would be one.
Yeah, Kristaps played for the Hawks and the Mavs. I would do Chris. He's on the. I mean, he just got traded obviously from the Hawks this season. He had kind of a short tenure there. But yeah, we can do Kristaps there. That works. I feel like his Dallas tenure is kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
Because like his Knicks tenure was the most famous.
14. Yeah, Knicks obviously. Well, now he's with
Golden State.
Golden State, yeah, and he was on Boston before that, right?
Yep. Yeah, he was on Boston when he won the title.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
All right, let's do our guy. Our guy Thad Young works for Wolves and Hawks for sure.
Oh, that'll be a good one. I like that one, Thad.
Yeah, he's an Immaculate Grid darling.
Oh,
wait, what? He didn't play for the Hawks? No way. Dude, no way.
He was Pacers. No, yeah, Pacers.
Did he really not play for the Hawks? Did he get traded to the Hawks and then not play for them?
I don't know.
I swear he got traded. I know he's on the Timberwolves. Wow.
Well, I know it. But he was also on Pacers, wasn't he? That young?
Damn. No, he didn't. That dude, that's on me. He never played for the Hawks. That's crazy.
Wow, okay.
Dude, I blew it. Wow.
Well, we don't have to use him, but wasn't he he was on the Pacers, right?
Yeah, we can use him there. Yeah,
I mean, we can if you want. Should we just stop the bleeding and get him in there since we tried?
Jesus, man, that's two straight. Shoot,
2 in a row, man. 6 right there.
I swore he played for the Hawks, dude. That's crazy. You want to do West then for Mavs and Pacers?
Mavs, Pacers, West.
No, Wes Matthews.
Oh, West. I was like trying to think who you were talking about. Yeah, West.
I don't think David West played for definitely played for the Pacers, but
that's why I was trying to like.
Don't click that. Don't click that. You guys, it's Wesley.
Oh.
I just called that. I'm like, wait a minute, 1981. I was like, Wesley Matthews not playing in 1981.
There you go. Okay, Wesley Matthews. All right, so then Hawks, Timberwolves. We know Teague works.
Yeah.
Who was the point guard before Teague?
On which one?
On Hawks.
I'm
trying to remember,
dude. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie.
He was a big name, wasn't he? I wish I could look it up now because I feel like
I have no idea.
Okay. Maybe Teague's the move.
Yeah, I'm really like
Schroeder never ended up there. He's an Immaculate Grid darling.
God, I'm trying to think of like other random guys like who were on Atlanta, like in their core, but none of them ever played in Minnesota. Really, like Horford never played there, Millsap never played there.
Right, but like a Mike Conley, Rubio, OJ Mayo.
Oh man, I don't think
Korver
never played.
I was about to say Korver never ended up there, right?
I don't think so. I don't think
Evan Turner.
Evan Turner played for the Wolves.
Yeah. Okay. There's gotta be like a. No. I mean, we might just have to go Teague.
It might go Teague. Yeah, I'm pretty.
There's got to be an obvious answer that we're missing.
Well, one of these we're not going to answer for, and I feel like it should be 5 assists and 20,000 points. I think that one's kind of obvious.
That's fair.
So we'll save that one. So if we want to do Hawks,
this one we'll leave.
Hawks 20K career points. Dwight, Dominique Wilkins. Low-key Bob Parrish, if you want to go boomer ball, probably at 5.
Vince.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah, Vince. Vince is probably a good call. Dude, know which one we've used it here before and I almost don't want to because of that reason. But I think Joe Johnson has like 20,000
Oh,
points by
right. I
1
kind of
point.
remember that. Yeah.
But we should do Vince there, honestly. I feel like Vince Carter is going to be lower. And that's end of his career. I think he won't like
Yeah.
maybe get associated with the points
13.
as much. Yeah, okay. Pacers 20K, the obvious one is Reggie.
Does Paul George have 20?
I don't think so.
Because that could be a weird one since it's,
that would definitely
he's still
be
playing, so people might not think about him.
Man, yeah, dude, I'm curious actually because he's probably close. I don't know if he's a 20, but he's definitely got to be close to it. Who I think? Well, man, I'm like real borderline on Chris Mullin too. Chris Mullin is the other guy I thought about. I think he's like real close too, but God, it's so chalky. But I'm trying to think of like any like random greats that may have played for the Pacers recently.
Yeah, random like stint or something.
Yeah, and I don't think any of them have 20K. That's the problem. And I mean, yeah, who else is there besides Reggie at that point?
Yeah. Unless you think Paul has it, he would be one. Reggie.
I don't know. Like Jermaine O'Neal doesn't have it, obviously. I don't think Detlef Schrempf has it.
West, because didn't we talk about West?
I don't think David West has 20K, man. You think David West has 20K points?
No, I don't. I'm just trying to think of other stars that have been on the team.
David West has 14,000, and that's way more than I expected him to have, honestly.
Well, shoot, if he has it,
I don't think
so I guess my point is like, if he had 14, we don't think Paul has another 6.
I feel like we'd remember like if he passed 20K.
Yeah.
Though. People make a big deal of passing 20K.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may have to go chalk. I truly don't think I can think of anybody other than Reggie. I mean, unless you want to try PG. We've lost one, but like
No. Let's just go. Let's just go Reggie. Reggie Miller.
Yeah, because Mark Jackson.
Jeez, 90K.
I'm stunned there's even another 10%, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm curious now. I gotta see what Paul George has.
He's got to be close. 18 or 19 is my guess then if he doesn't have it.
Good guess. Yeah, he's really close. He's at 19,338.
Wow. So he'll probably get that by the end of his career.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a few more years with the Sixers for sure.
That's what I mean.
On the current contract.
If he's doing like 15 to 20 a game, he'll probably get it.
Yeah, I think he'll get to 20.
All right, so then 5 assists per game
for Dallas and for.
Do you think at any point Dirk did 5+?
I mean,
because that would be kind of sneaky.
Probably, right?
I don't know.
Just almost by accident.
Well, yes, but also I don't know because he was doing all the scoring.
He's not a facilitator. But
he's doing all the scoring. Right? That's why I was thinking more of like a. Like, do you think JJ Redick or like you were saying JJ Barea or didn't one of the Miami guys come over there?
I've got an insane decision, but we're already here, so we might as well try it. What if JJ Barea definitely played for Minnesota? We think he had 5 assists there.
Oh man, I'm not even sure if he had 5. Well, I'm fairly confident he had 5 with the Mavs, but. I mean, I'm down to try it.
We already lost one. We might as well try it. I won't be proud of this.
JJ with the Wolves?
Yeah.
Was it BUR?
No, it's like BAERA, I think.
JJ. Was it? He just J.
Just do JJ.
BAREA. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
All right. So then Mavs 5 a game, potentially Dirk.
I mean, Steve Nash is the obvious answer.
Oh yeah, Steve Nash. I didn't even say Steve Nash.
Rondo probably at 5 when he was there.
Are you sure? Didn't he?
Yeah, dude.
Rondo had a bad time.
No, Rondo had a rough season in Dallas, but I don't think there's any world Rondo had less than 5 assists. Rough.
I bet Kyrie, Luka.
Oh yeah, Kyrie. Yeah, Kyrie. Yeah, he was there. He was there recently. You're right. That would also be one.
Luka definitely. Do you think? Well, the season's not over, so maybe I won't use.
No, is going to be just short of it, I think. But I mean, Cooper Flag.
Well, that's who I was.
Close.
I don't know. Yeah, would it count? I mean, the season's still going on right now. Technically,
no,
their season's
over.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think he hit 5, so it doesn't matter. But
that's fair. What other random one-off? Turkoglu.
I'm trying to think of the other point guards are. During the Dirk era.
Well, there was didn't Norris Cole or somebody end up over there after the Heat. Dude, I'm telling you, one of them ended.
I don't think so. I mean,
Chalmers,
I'm just surprised.
I think Mario Chalmers ended up over there or something. I'm telling you, one of those point guards ended up there.
No, probably works who definitely was there a lot longer and probably identifies the tenure that work we've used in a while. I bet Jason Terry works.
Oh, Terry probably does work. You want to try Terry?
Yeah, let's do Jason Terry. It may be a little higher, but whatever. I think he's not going to be the number one answer there. So sick. All right, cool. All right, let's scroll down to our top answers here. I'm curious about this.
No, thanks. Maybe later. Here we go.
No, we don't need overtime.
So hold on. 3 options
for Pacers and 20K. All
yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, it's not going to do that.
It's not going to tell us the way we wanted it to. I wish we could see the teams. All right. Well, I'll Google it. Oh, also, that was such a messed up joke that I wanted to show you. I realized.
What?
This JFK of the Orlando Magic was the shooter.
I saw that too.
That's
Jesus,
so wrong, man.
I did see that. So
I was like, wait, what is this? So,
all right, let's scroll down here. Yeah. All right, so top answers: Pacers and Mavs. Detlef Schrempf, Hawks and Mavs. Vince Carter.
Jason Kidd.
Right.
We did say that, right?
Right.
Okay.
No, we didn't say Jason Kidd at all. Jason Kidd, Mavs, 5 assists per game per season. Ricky Rubio was number 1 for Timberwolves and 5 assists per game per season. Jeff Teague. How about 2 number 1 answers for Jeff Teague with the Timberwolves and Pacers and Timberwolves and Pistons? Or Timberwolves and Hawks, I should say. Reggie Miller, of course, the obvious answer for Pacers and 20K points. Dominique Wilkins, Hawks 20K. LeBron James, number 1 for 20K points, 5 assists per game per season. Let's go back to our grid one last time.
I want to see the other option. Hold on. Al Jefferson.
Okay, we got that. Brad Miller's the good one. Teague, Sam Mitchell.
Morris. Lance did do it.
Okay, Lance did play. Yeah, Lance played for the Wolves.
For a second. Okay, I was wondering Chase Budding. That would have been a good one. And then I wanted to see this one too. Timberwolves. So Teague, obviously.
Joe Smith, a 90s Immaculate Grid darling.
Crap.
Alexander Walker this season. Yeah, Alexander Walker just won Most Improved Player.
Yeah. Jamal. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. Jamal Crawford's a good one.
Joe Smith. Jason Collins.
Yeah, Lance works there too. That's crazy. Oliver. 6 games.
Oliver. We got to remember him for these. All right. Let me go back to what we were doing. Where is it? Here it is. Immaculate Grid. All right.
All right. Our grid one last time. So we got Wesley Matthews for Pacers and Mavs, Kristaps Porzingis for Mavs and Hawks, Jason Terry, Mavs, 5 assists per game per season, Thaddeus Young for Wolves and Pacers, Jeff Teague for Wolves and Hawks, JJ Barea for Wolves and 5 assists per game per season, Reggie Miller, Pacers, 20,000 career points, Vince Carter, Hawks, 20,000 career points. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. Appreciate you guys as always. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. I'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Player FM, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And we're on YouTube, Drive and Dish NBA on YouTube. You can subscribe and get notifications when new episodes are coming out.